The Seattle win over Portland in the Western Conference Finals was one of the most unexpected victories that I have seen in Major League Ultimate.
The Portland game was something that we had kind of been building towards for the whole year. I mean, if you go back and watch us at the beginning of last season, like our first game of the year last year, we got spanked by Portland. Like, we looked terrible.
The first game of the season, they just blew us out, and it really kind of ticked us off, and we knew that we could do better.
What I told the captains and the coaches at that point, and I think I even said this to the whole team, was we're not worried about beating Portland in the regular season at this point going forward. Like, we are worried about focusing on San Francisco and Vancouver, and when we play Portland, we're going to play them tough, we're going to gather data, and we're going to beat them in the playoffs.
And we knew that if any team could beat them, for sure, it was going to be the Rainmakers.
The game started out without Henry Fan or Khalif El Salam, which to basically everybody who was paying attention to the league at that point was a sign that Seattle was going to lose in a terrible fashion.
Khalif and Henry were both in Europe for Youth Worlds.
The setup we had was we're in Khalif's dorm room on the laptop. He's sitting at the desk with the laptop in front of him. I'm sitting on the bed. And when the games get closer, I stand up and like lean in to like watch the laptop. And then when the games were points I don't watch, I get back on the bed and like cringe away and hide.
There was no confidence outside of the Rainmakers themselves that the Rainmakers had a chance.
We didn't rely on 2 or 3 stars in that game. Every single player who traveled down with us like played meaningful minutes in that game and did something meaningful in that game. I think even like in the write-up afterwards, Will Kerb said the MVP of the game was the whole Rainmakers team because it was just a team effort.
You know, I talked to Steve a lot about how to beat the Stags. He told me a couple of weeks before the finals that he knew how to beat the Stags, and he was just waiting until the game that it mattered.
It was clear that their plan was to force Bjorklund away from the disc and make him be more of a deep threat, sort of putting athletic defenders on him, seeing how that worked out, and then to force Purston towards the disc and to make him be more of a thrower.
The biggest achievement, I think, on our defensive side of things was Cam Bailey. Cam had the tough task of guarding Cody. The coaches came up with a great idea for our team where we would front Cody to prevent any unders for him to catch. And Cam, who's one of the most athletic guys on our team, was forcing Cody deep. Cody wasn't willing to cut deep. And so we were able to really stop the whole offensive effort right in their tracks.
They just sort of took the rhythm out of the Portland offense. They were still doing the things that they were supposed to do, but it was consistently their second option instead of their first option. And Portland didn't play poorly on offense by any stretch. They played a really good game. Both teams in this game played excellent on offense and defense for the whole. It's just 3 breaks versus 2 breaks can be the difference in the game. And you can get 3 breaks by forcing a team to option B. That's a step in the right direction.
Our offensive line played the best game that they had all season, and you could really tell that because even when there was a turn, they were able to get it back.
When Seattle would make errors in this game, they would consistently make a play just after the error to get the disc back or to obviate their error or to clean up the mess that they had made just beforehand. A perfect example of that is Tridiak gets this ridiculous underneath poach block and then throws a scuba for a goal, all kind of in one motion. This was just after Seattle had thrown it again into double coverage deep.
That one just was such a perfect Seattle play. The scuba right after he intercepted it, like that's how people play Ultimate out here.
Without that poach block, without that short field and that easy goal, that turns into a 6-4 game instead of, turns into a 5-5 game instead of a 6-4 game. And that difference is made by one player making one play at a key moment.
Also, there was an up-the-line throw to Isaac Entz, who's our big man, the Frost Giant. And it was just a little bit too far in front of him, and he's a big boy, and he starts leaning forward like he's going to lay out, and I was worried, the ground was going to split underneath him, but he ends up laying out and catching it great up the line. And when he pops up, he just roars, and he was so pumped up that the whole team just kind of flipped out and ran out to join him.
Like Isaac Entz making a huge layout grab, Peter Bender, Matt Neely getting huge Ds. It was at some point being like, oh my God, I know we're gonna lose this game. Let's go. And like it fluctuated the whole game, which was awful down to the last second because it was obviously only like a 1-point game.
You have everybody contributing to that win. that's where you get that rush of emotion and that belief and that thing that sports is all about, where we think we can achieve the impossible. In this case, beating the team that only one team had beaten before during the season.
I definitely thought we were going to lose maybe like mid-third quarter because it just looked like the Stags were building momentum to take that run at the end. And like I said, our offense they just played what a game. And our defense actually got like the 1 or 2 breaks that we really needed that were just super crucial. And when they got those breaks, I lost it. I just went crazy. And then I had to remember that it was like 4 in the morning and I had to like shut up because all my teammates were around. So I'd be like, yeah, let's go. And just get so hyped. And me and Cleve like chest bumped, high five. We did our routines pretty much, celebrations when we scored.
The point that our offense had the disc and they had to score in order for us to keep our lead, there was so much pressure watching that game on the sidelines, and that was it. It was up the O-line. They had to deliver.
The thing in this game that surprised me the most was Seattle's last goal, where Tridiak catches the disc sort of in the center after an almost block, and then puts up a gorgeous flick huck to a totally uncovered Evan Klein. This is the point where the Stags have to make a block or they're going to lose. And there's just a totally uncovered player 60 yards downfield. That play right there, not only did it seal the game, but that was kind of what was going wrong the whole time for this Portland team, is that they were just forgetting a piece. They were forgetting what the second part of their offense was. They were forgetting what it was like to be a dominant break-converting team.
We knew it was over. I remember giving Danny Tridiak a big hug as he was coming off the field.
We were the underdog team. People had brushed us off, and we were so excited for guys like Eddie, Henry, and Khalif, who had put so much into the season, that we got to play one more game with them and that we were able to, deliver.
By the end, I was just I was so proud of the work that those guys had put in.
During this game, you could see the sidelines for the Rainmakers were like, they were excited about what they were doing, but they were trying not to over-celebrate, and they were trying to focus on the task at hand, except that there were 2 of their teammates were half a world away, celebrating wildly at every glorious goal that was scored by the Rainmakers and cringing at every ugly turnover and everything that could happen. They were living with their teammates through this moment from half a world away.
It was literally one of the biggest emotional roller coaster rides I've ever been on.
Oh my God! Are you serious, baby? Let's go.
Watching it was hard because there are so many matchups in your mind that are like, if I were to guard that guy, I would ruin his life. But all you can do is instill faith in your teammates and be like, you need to do what I would do right now because it's crucial.
The way that their excitement comes through in the way they celebrate and the way they talk about it, you can tell that this team was more than just the players who were on the field. The players who were absent were totally involved in this game.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think, honestly, that was the most energetic I'll ever be at 6 a.m. ever. 3 to 6 a.m. That's the most energetic I'll ever be, I think.
The coaching job, not just by Gus and for the Rainmakers, but by their entire staff, it wasn't just this game. They had prepared this team for this game throughout the season and throughout the practices.
Even if we have a game plan that makes sense, even if we have a game plan that works, if the dudes come out and don't execute it perfectly, it doesn't matter because that Portland team is really good and they would still just beaten us.
Having the players who can actually go out on the field and say, yes, I'm going to force you to the end zone, but not make it so easy for you that you're going to get a bunch of goals. And I'm going to force Perston in, but not so hard that it's going to be easy for him to beat me deep right after he catches the disc and releases it. It's the ability of the players to execute that game plan that made the difference. And that was what was built up by the coaching staff throughout the course of the season.